Hello everyone, welcome to Foundation. Now this is a game that's currently in early access, developed and published by Polymorph Games. You can find it on Steam store. I will of course leave you a link down the bottom. Now, essentially it's a medieval town builder. And this is just the map that you've got here. And you can see various different sort of bits and pieces around the place. You've got various different resources. You can see wood, and there's some stuff in there, maybe some stone, and you essentially have to decide where you are going to build your village, city, whatever you want to call it. Now, obviously you can choose here, or you can choose here. Now, there are sort of limits to where you can choose. You can even choose up here as well, which has the potential to be comical, and also the opportunity for people to fall off cliffs. But I don't know, I don't think there's enough wood there, because we've got to have the wood. But then saying that, there's not a lot of wood here, is there? But because these areas are adjacent, you will be able to buy additional land, so we could end up there at some point. So what I'm thinking is, because you've got down here stone, and you've got these, which is berries, and obviously you've got a reasonable amount of wood, I think we're going to go for here. So there you go, we've now marked our territory. This is where we're going to be. Now, what you have to do to start with is you have to create a village centre. Now, this is obviously where all your people are going to congregate and essentially get together, and there they are. See? So now you can see that they're all the guys there, and every single one of these will have a name. See, Gunter and Lily and all the rest of it, and they've got a status and what kind of job they're doing. So we can create that now. Let's just give you a little bit of thing. You've got quests coming up here, new zones called extraction, and then new things that you can buy. So essentially what will happen if I just pause this, let me just make sure, yeah, it's paused, because otherwise they start walking around. Essentially what you have is the ability to paint certain zones. Now, if you paint this, and you can use the mouse wheel to make it smaller, mouse wheel and control key, you point that as an extraction zone. Now, the thing is, if you don't paint something as an extraction zone, you could put a building there to extract it, and they won't do diddly squat. You have to actually tell them this is an extraction zone. Now, it also means that you can, if you mouse wheel up and make it bigger, you can say, okay, this will be an extraction zone for wood. We'll have over here an extraction zone, and obviously you can see it only goes as far as the borders. So we'll also have to mark all of this as extraction for wood. So there we go, we've marked all of that. Now, so you can also mark certain areas as forbidden land. Now what that means is that your villagers will not move over it. So you could essentially create like a barricade like that, so they can only ever walk down that corridor, so to speak. And then you can just right click if you want to remove it, like that. So that's what we've got now. We have the opportunity to build various things. So you can see a lumber camp, and you need tools, and you also have a certain maintenance cost. You can see your resources are up the top here. You've got a village information window, where you can see authorized housing upgrades, authorized housing density upgrades. We'll get to that later. You've got quest information. Let's just get rid of that. Warnings, so it can tell you what's going on. And obviously you've got your various people. Global happiness, that doesn't come into play until later on. And then toggle resources. So you can see here all the various resources that we've got. And you can choose to stockpile if you wish. Now what that means essentially is that they will keep everything to themselves over to one side, so to speak, and not hand it out for other people and all that kind of thing. So that's a helpful thing if for whatever reason you have a mission that comes up that means you need to stockpile. Now down the bottom here you obviously have your villager list. You can see everyone's currently unemployed, sadly. You also have a workplace list, and as you can see, nothing's yet been built. desirability layers, and you can see the desirability overlay like that. See, right now, that's good for fertility, as you can see, and see, yeah, it varies. And obviously your desirability. Now, obviously, what plays into desirability tends to vary. And you can always have this switched on as well for your zoning layers. Now, you don't have to if you don't want to, because it can get a little bit in the way. And here, you can see we can change to show the borders. Now, you've also got help where you can go through. Now, obviously, because it's early access, yeah, a lot of this is screenshots. It's basic stuff which you can go through and read at your leisure. And obviously, Splendor is another thing that's part of this game, and essentially adds to the desirability of people wishing to stay in your encampment, so to speak. Now, so what we've got here is the various buildings. Lumber camp, a gathering hut, which is the first thing we're going to place. Now you can see here the desirability will unfortunately be low, but we don't really have a huge amount of choice. And we've got to build a well. Now this is something that you've got to do right at the start. So we'll place that in there. Now, see that border? That shows the people who will be affected, or the desirability that will be reduced as a result of this encampment. And you can see, look, that dark patch relating to the desirability. Now, what we'll also need to do is we'll also have to put a lumber camp up. And the lumber camp, as you can see, is also equally affecting. So if we put him over here, kind of keeping him away from everything possible. Now, obviously you've got a granary for storing food and other bits and pieces like that, and the lumber camp. So what I think we'll do is we will unpause it, and the only thing is that you then have to assign your people to be builders. So we're just going to go and assign them to be builders, and you can see they'll start to pick up the resources, and then they'll start to build stuff. Now, once they become builders, you will be able to do things where they won't all be builders. There are various different jobs that they'll be able to associate. So you can essentially see here, market tender, which you'll see later, woodcutter, which we'll need, forager, who gathers the berries, transporter, because obviously you've got to get the stuff from A to B. There's no cars, and there's no other bits and pieces in that. Stonecutter, obviously, carpenter, which creates planks, and stonemason, which creates other things. Yeah. Stonemason basically creates polished stone. Now, that's about to be ready. Here you can see one of the builders now getting ready, and there you go. So now what you can do is you can click on the builder. Now, if you have any spare villagers left, you can just click on that and assign them. So we'll assign a couple. So you can see Lily and Jane are now going to be the gatherers, and you can see they get fitted with this lovely gathering hat, and off they go with the berries in the back, and they go and pick it all up. Now, obviously, quests will come down from the powers that be with respect to what they want and all the rest of it. Now, let's have a look at our... Yep, so that's all painted fine. That's all good. Now, there's the well. Now, one thing you can do is you can say, I want to pause construction. Say, for example, you want to redirect where things are going. And also, you can prioritize building construction. So, essentially, you can say, I want to build this really quickly. Now, we have the desire to build more things, and a granary is one of them. Now, obviously, what we want to do with the granary is put it close to where stuff is being gathered. You can see you can hold down the control key while you move it around like that to rotate, and then once you're happy with it, you can plonk it down. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to put it there. Now, Let's see, because you can see right now only the gathering hut has been built. And you can see Lucy's bringing in construction tools, everything that needs to be done. And there you go, the lumber camp's been created. And now we need to assign a woodcutter. So if we click on that and assign a couple of woodcutters, Elizabeth and Gunter. Excuse me. Now, you can see there what's going to happen now is that these two lovely people are going to go in and start cutting trees down and providing us with wood. Now, what we will also need to do, so we completed that, and we can now produce berries. And because we've got people who are still assigned builders, you can see they're in there. Now, yeah, you can see we've got a couple of woodcutters. And do we have the stone? Yes, we do. So let's assign the villager to that. There we go. Yvette is off. And we can check to see. There you go. So she's saying can't find a place to work. So it's possible that we haven't... No. She's on her way. So a little bit of a delay. So because it's got to find that particular place to work. So, looking good right now, I would say. Couple of foragers. Couple of other people. Now, one thing we do need to do is build a sawmill. Now, I will be inclined to put the sawmill close to the lumber camp because it affects their desirability. You can see there all the planks going in and the logs going out. It affects the desirability. So we kind of want to keep it away from the well if we can. And it means that they don't have to go very far to pick up the logs and put them in there. So, we've also got a stonemason's hut. Now, they can build other things. We've also got the ability to build a market and a wooden bridge. Now, what we'll do is we will build a food stall. Now, obviously, this market is not only for selling to other people, but also selling to your own people. So what we're going to do is we're going to put that there. Now, these are the kind of things that you can add to it to give it splendor. And you can see there, the little star on the tooltip is the splendor. So that increases splendor by 2. And then what you can also do is get a food stall sign like that. Hold down control. Just put it there, I think. And then round the back here, we'll have some additional barrels. And maybe somewhere to sit on the other side, just so they can relax. And then once you've done that, you can then say, start construction. And you can set all this so it snaps, or you can have it non-snapping if you wish. It's entirely up to you, but we need to check the villager list and make sure, yeah, we still got builders. And you can see that they actually go up levels in building. So as builders build more, they get better, as you would kind of expect through the whole experience side of things. So that literally is what we are doing now. The granary has nearly been built. We've got the stonemason hut. Maybe. Now the thing is, you can see there the desirability is low. So I think what we'll do is we'll put it over here, just on the edge. Now, obviously, keep the desirability over to sort of separate sections if we can avoid it. So, let's see. There's the market being built. And you can see generates revenue. And you can see the various parts. And it will say, oh, I'm missing resources, so it's missing planks. Now, obviously, this is why we are building this. Now, this is the sawmill, so let's put that at a high priority and get that sawmill built as quickly as possible. Because we're going to need those planks in order to build the market. Now, you've also got the ability to do things like rustic churches, lord manors, you've got decorations, so you can put decorative bushes in, you can put fences in if that's what you want to do. The building of fences is pretty good, but the thing is, it's like You can't build a row of them as far as I'm aware. Oh dear, our gold's at -1. That's not good. That's why we need to start buying and selling berries quickly. This game is tough. Sustainability is a rough bugger, let's just say. And so what you can't do is you can't go like that. You have to place each one individually. So there's a lot of individual placement, but obviously this is early access, so there are certain aspects that are going to change over the course of time and improve and just be different. So come on, you lot. How's this getting on? You can see it's 50% done. Lacking stone. So that's the resource that they're lacking at the moment in order to complete the building of that. So you can see here the stone being brought back. Now, what it might be worth doing, you can see there, builder, 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 is maybe turn them into a transporter. So they can essentially work and move stuff around for us. So we've still got some planks in stock, other than myself, obviously. And you can see now that's also being built as well. So there's the gathering hut with both Lily and Jane in it. Here is the items, missing resources, still those missing resources we need. Now you can obviously change the speed. It tells you what month, week, day, all the rest of it. There's the version number of it. And you've got various different things. So you've got an estate manager, which enables you to unlock new things, new devices, stuff relating to either a kingdom or a clergy. You get monasteries, all the rest of it. You can assign what you consider more important to be your people, whether or not you want to be under the vassal of the king, or whether or not you want to be part of the clergy. The trade screen we'll get to later, because obviously we need 20 planks in order to set up a trade. Territory. So this is the one where you can, if you wish, buy more territory, and you can see here it's expensive. It will cost you 500 gold. You have an army manager, but we don't have any armies yet. That's normally as a result of a keep. We can build walls if we so desire. So that's where we are at the moment, and you can see here we've assigned a transporter, and once this is built we can assign berries to that, and then that will be that particular mission done, and we'll probably get some gold as a result of it. So here we go. Here comes the... Let's speed it up a little bit. You can see you can increase it to triple speed as well. So you can see the building is proceeding. And the stone obviously is being brought in from the central area here after being delivered, as you can see. So there we go, the builder actually went and picked up the stone. So the gatherers continue their work, and you can see the market stall is being built by the builders. So let's have a look. So there's a warehouse we need to unlock. Fisher's hut obviously would be nice because we're not far from the water, but we would need to unlock this area. And look, there you go, a fishing area where they can go fishing for fish as opposed to fishing for anything else. Let's see. And then obviously you can keep an eye on your budget, so you can see how much you're making this week. And at the moment it's -20, and it keeps a log up the top here. So you can see we got 10 tools, we got wood, we got quite a few berries, and obviously you can see stone is at 0, so the requirement for stone is quite high at the moment. Let's assign we don't have another villager. Now, what you can do is you can say, I want to pick from an existing list, so you can reassign them. You can also say, I only want to see unemployed ones. So it could be that there's no unemployed villagers, which is the case. So hopefully, once we get this built, we can then start getting the market up and working. So what I think I might do is, what's him? He's a transporter. How many transporters do we have? We only have the one transporter. What we might do is turn that person into... No, actually, let's leave them as builders for the moment. So there you go. The stonemason hut is now complete. And they will basically create polished stone, which we'll be able to sell. So that'll be helpful in that regard. Now, let's see. So, as you can see, these things take time. Stone, obviously, the last few bits of stone still being delivered. And there we go. That should be, I think, everything. One more stone required, and then it's built. There we go, another stone being collected. So, not looking too bad. And then once that's built, we'll have the planks. Now, it looks like we already had the planks in the market. You can see they're still missing planks, barrels, and yeah. So, I mean, it's still missing a couple of planks. So, once we get this up and running here, bingo, we'll have to assign a villager to do it. Now, what I'm thinking is let's make Gunter in as the sawmill man. Now, as you can see, granary is still missing stone. And it's just a careful balance. Because what we need to do is take that level 2 builder and make them a stone cutter for the moment. So we only really have one builder. But it means that we need to supply the resources. And there you can see wood chips being created as planks are made. And they'll be dropped down here in the main sort of village area to allow them to essentially then be moved to where they need to be moved in order to be set up. Now, what I'm going to do is I am going to quickly save this. So we will call this Channels 1. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you sort of, not end game, but the kind of thing that you can work towards. Now, this is one that I was playing offline for my own personal gaming knowledge, things of that nature. And here you go. So, as you can see, it's a big old place. And in the centre, we've got housing for all the people. We've also got a church for the religious needs. And there's the market and the central square. You can see lovely stuff all set up. Get rid of that arch. There you go. See, more splendour helps improve things. And generally speaking, you can see the paths being worn out by the people as they move to the various areas. We've got wheat fields over here helping us generate flour, which then goes to the windmill. And from the windmill, it then goes to the baker. And the baker enables us to build bread. Well, cook bread, but make bread, you know what I mean. And then, you know, we've got things like the warehouse, which has tools, wood, planks and stone in it. And you can see plenty of stone in there. We've got other stuff as we move over towards here. So these are various houses that people build themselves, depending on the desirability. We've got these areas, which is a tailor's workshop and a weaver hut right next to the sheep farm. As you can see, the sheepies doing wonderful jobs of being sheep. So here is another wheat field, which can then be used for a nearby brewery, I think, which I was working on. Here is the Lord Manor, as you can see, where people will approach the Lord and ask for essentially more more help. And you can see you can assign it as a great hall for meetings. You can also then add things in. So it could be a case of, well, why don't we add on a nice big wooden extension at the back here like this. So you could put on wooden extension there, and then a wooden extension there, and then maybe another wooden extension at the back here. You see, you can turn it around if you need to. Like that. And then if you wanted to, you could have a nice big wooden tower at the back. Now when you put it down, you can use these arrows to make it nice and high. That's what you want to do. And then you can just right click to get rid of those. You've also got decorative stuff which you can put on it. So things like weathercocks. And you've got other bits and pieces in there as well. Actually, has this got a... No, it doesn't have that. So let's put a chimney on top. Oh, hello. This is where you can promote all your commoners. So you can say, okay, I want to pay you. So see, we're doing good for money. I'm going to pay the other guys from commoners. Oh, pay 200. Oh, no. Don't have that kind of money. Now, obviously, as you pay them, and they become better people, like citizens, all that kind of stuff. Just start the construction on there so it builds in the other bits and bobs. They basically, their demands actually grow. So certain members of the community, if they're a simple serf, don't have many requirements. They just want to do their job and all the rest of it. And there we go, there's the weather vane up the top. And the thing is things like the weather vane helps add to the splendor, as you can see. And, you know, splendor is something you need to consider. See, we've unlocked a wooden keep if we wanted to. Now, obviously, if we go into here, you can see, oh, look, a wooden keep. And this is where you would build something like this. You know, you could build it here. And then, essentially, you say, okay, right, let's make it a big tall keep like that. And then if you wish to, you can put a tower on the top. You've got other options, so you can have a doorway that connects somewhere. Depends. Or just a standard doorway that just goes in there like that. You can just have a standard doorway if you so desire. And there's things like this as well. Little bit of doorway there. And you've also got a covered doorway like that. So it's possible you can just take them off like that. And then slot them back in. And so there you go. That would be like the entrance to it. And then you would have other things like banner at the top. You've got other decorations. So you've got extensions. So we could potentially put on more extensions down the bottom. Like this. We could put extensions around the side. If we want to. Kind of makes it look like a big giant dick, which is unfortunate. You see? So these are the things that you can build. And then, obviously, you can put in chimneys and all. Oh, God, that's terrible. And that's even worse. Well, we'll ignore the chimney. Now, obviously, because you guys are going to want... oh, that's the point, actually. Let's put a banner on here. Actually, a wall banner. There we go. In the centre. Now, it could be a case of, you know, you want a gate out here. And then you'll want to put in walls, which is something you can do later on. See here, large porches, small porches, all the rest of it. And this is something that you can then build, because then that'll enable you to get soldiers in and all that kind of thing. So, and there you have it. That would be essentially building a keep. So it's something I don't want to do right now. But the option has available to you if that's the route you want to go, because obviously you'll want to have a big wall around your castle. And you can see here, this is building wooden walls. So if that's what we want to do, we can build a nice wooden wall like that. And there you go, one wooden wall created. And if you want to, you can cancel that. And you have the option of putting in other walls as well. Large stone walls like that. And hedges. Because everyone loves a good hedge. But the point is, you could create a maze if you wanted to. But the point is, the options are there. So you can have a big wall around your city if that's what you want to do. Or you could potentially have a wooden wall followed by a big wall around your keep, for example. So this just gives you, oh hello, this is the brewery. So here's the brewery. So the hops are grown over there and they're dragged over here. And you can see that this place holds cheese, because we've got a cheese maker in there, because we've got a cow farm somewhere around here. And we store beer and we store milk. And hops, obviously. So here is all the hops being grown. So we are going to get absolutely slaughtered, clearly. And there's an iron mine as well for creating other stuff. So you can see Hans is created iron ore in exchange for, yeah. So there you go. And the only thing we don't have is coal, because you'll need coal for example, the blacksmith. Now, blacksmith obviously needs coal, so there's a good chance that if you don't have coal, you'll have to import it. So if that's the case, then, you know, that's what will happen with trade. And here is the trade aspect. So you can see we've enabled trade with 3 other neighbouring cities, and this is where you can go in and trade resources. So you can request, you can say, okay, for example, I want to, you know, I want to sell everything above 100 logs, and I want to buy everything to make sure we've got 50 berries in stock at all times. And these are the options you have when it comes to the trade. Now, obviously, here's the budget, as you can see. We're not doing too bad. And let's have a look, because this is where an envoy visits. And he's buggered off now, but never mind. Whoops, a daisy. Sometimes bugs out, but essentially this is where the envoy will come to visit. If you don't respond in time, then obviously at least what will happen. Can we put a wall banner up there, maybe? Now, bear in mind, when you do that, it needs cloth. So you'll need a sheep, or 2, or 3, and then weavers, and all sorts of other stuff as well. There you go, there's warehouse that's keeping stock of planks and tools and all sorts of other things. And you can see people can come in from afar and decide to join your village if they want to. They may not want to, but that's dependent on things like desirability. You can see my zoning areas here. So you can see most set as residential. So they can fill up with houses anywhere they want. For some reason, obviously, the desirability is not that great down here. So let's just have a look. See, so over here, desirability is low. Desirability is low, probably because of various things. Look at this, the very high desirability around here, around the central area, because of the market. Okay. Don't know what that market is supposed to be doing, but right, okay, so some of those resources we don't have yet. But there we go, ladies and gentlemen. That, at a very, very basic scratch, is Foundation. Now, bear in mind, obviously, that there is so much more to this game. It is extremely difficult to essentially keep a good balance of everything. Takes time, takes practice, probably take a few goes. So don't be upset if everything fails horribly the first few times. Anyway, I hope you boys and girls have enjoyed this sneak peek into Foundation, as published by Polymorph Games, available on Steam. Link will be in the description. We'll see you next time.